have a special tutorial to share with you today all about how you can add someone from your team to your podcast in Buzzsprout. So whether you have a virtual assistant, you have a podcast manager, you just have someone to help you with your podcast launch, this is really important to be able to give them access to your podcast without feeling like you're just giving them your login information. So let's get right to it. Hey y'all, Crystal here today, and like I said, let me pull up, I have this special banner here. I'm doing a quick training on how you can add a team member to your podcast in Buzzsprout. Like I said, if you have a podcast manager, if you have a virtual assistant, if you have a project manager, you have just someone that needs access to your podcast. Maybe you're going on vacation, maybe you're going out of town, and you're like, I don't want to just hand over the reins, right? Give them the keys to the kingdom because you're like, I don't know if they're going to break something once they get in there. So I want to show you real fast how you can log into your Buzzsprout account and actually just add someone and give them specific permissions because this is really important. So I'm actually in my personal Buzzsprout account. If you want to learn more about Buzzsprout, if you're like, what is she even talking about? Buzzsprout is my podcast hosting provider that I have been using for more than 3 years now, and they're fantastic. And you can actually find a free trial with them by going to crystalproffitt.com/Buzzsprout, and you can try them out for 90 days for free. I'm an affiliate for them. I have been for a very long time because they're amazing. Okay, so that's like quick side note, little business. Now let's go and show you how to add your team members in Buzzsprout. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm actually going to take this away because we don't need that right now. But I'm in my Buzzsprout account for the Proffitt Podcast. Usually whenever you log in, it'll default you to your episodes. So you will have to go up here and go to podcast settings. That's where you're going to find exactly what we're doing today. Here's this. I have podcast settings, and then we're going to go down to team members. Hang on, I want to change the color of this so it looks a lot like you can, there we go. We can see it a lot easier, right? All the colors were all blending together. So we're going to go to podcast settings, and then over here, we're going to go to team members. So let me click on that. And you can see I have myself and I have my project manager here as part of my podcast because I want her to have access to some of the things that we're working on the back end, but I am the only admin of the show. Now, what does this mean? You're like, do I need to be an admin? Do I need to have, give everyone permission to everything? Can they just be an editor? So I want to show you what it would look like if you were adding someone from your team. So again, we're under podcast settings, we're under team members. I'm going to go down and I'm going to add a team member. So whenever I do this, it defaults to, all right, well, what's your team member's name? So I would put in their name. I would add their email because whenever you add the email and you click save or you submit it, it's going to send them an email and say, hey, Crystal's trying to add you as an admin or an editor of this podcast. Do you accept? Do you take on this responsibility of being in charge of this podcast in this way? Okay, I know that's a little dramatic, but you get what I'm saying here. But this is cool. So they actually break down what the access is. So I'm going to go full screen for a second so you can really see this. So an admin has complete access to the podcast. Complete access. Okay. So if you don't want someone to be able to go in and delete things and change things up, then make them an editor. Okay. Like I think that unless you are one of the hosts of the show, you probably only need to have editor access. Unless you were the main person, you're the one running it. I don't like the idea of giving someone complete access to my show. That's just me. Maybe you feel differently about it. But that is who I am of my podcast. I am the admin. But let's go back and read the settings. So they can do things like add or remove team members, delete episodes, change billing info, and redirect the RSS feed or delete the podcast. That is not most people that you're going to add to your team. They're probably going to be an editor. So this is limited access. So an editor cannot delete episodes, delete the podcast, change podcast information, change billing, all the things that we just said, right? So whenever you're finished, you would simply click add team member. And from there, like I said, they're going to get an email. They're going to say, hey, Crystal's trying to add you to this. Do you want to be a part of this podcast? So I think that this is a really great option that hasn't always been around in the podcasting space for you to be able to add someone to your team very simply without having to do like a LastPass where you share the password that way, or just outright giving them like, hey, here's my login. I don't know any other way to tell you how to get in there. This is what we have to do. So I love that Buzzsprout gives you this option. So tell me in the comments below if you have someone helping you with your podcast, or if this is something you're looking to do in the future. I'd love to know in the comments by just letting me know looking forward in the future, or I have a VA, or I have a project manager, or I am just so glad this information is out there. So chime in on the conversation. We'd love to know what you think, but that's all I have for you today. Like I said, this was a quick tutorial. I wanted you to know how you can add your team members in your Buzzsprout account. So if this is your first time hanging out with us, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you like this video and give us a subscribe below. That way you don't miss our future videos that we put out every single week, all about podcasting and running your online business. Make sure you check out these other videos right here, wherever they are. You know what I'm saying. They're around here somewhere. Watch those videos, because if you like this one, they will be helpful for you as well. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere.